So most of my career after I got out of school was in the healthcare space. And the one thing that I took from working there for almost 10 years was that like urgency is key. And when you're adding technology to a workflow, we want it to be intuitive so you can log in, the user knows kind of what to do just by looking at it. And
Hmm.
you also want it to be efficient. If there's a bunch of extra steps and things that add to their workflow, it's going to be harder to get those users to adopt it.
Hi, and welcome to our ClearVoice Team Spotlight series. I'm Taylor Moon, Senior Manager of Content Marketing here at ClearVoice, and today I'm joined by Brendon White. Brendon, welcome.
Thanks.
Now, are you ready to jump into our Spotlight series?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. And so before we kind of, get into questions, I was hoping you could kind of just give us an intro, your name, your title, how long you've been with ClearVoice.
Sure. My name is Brendon White, and I am an associate product manager. I've been with ClearVoice since 2020, so 5 years now.
Wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, it's been a
That's
long time.
crazy. And so tell me a little bit about, where you started as to where you are right now at ClearVoice and kind of what your day to day looks like.
So when I started, I came on as a technical support engineer. So I was helping with customer issues, basically issues with the platform, and kind of automating that whole system for tickets and chats and emails and
Yeah.
all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then over the last couple years, I've transitioned to the product management side of things. So where support is more reactive to things that are happening.
Mm.
With product management, we can kind of be proactive and figure out what our users are saying about the product, what they like about it, what they don't like, and try to find ways to improve upon what we already have or create new things that'll serve what our customers and users are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And you say customers, and so can you talk to me about how you kind of service or serve the ClearVoice customers and the differentiation, if you will?
Sure. So directly, customers, literally, the people that are buying content from us, try to make their experience as user friendly as possible within the platform when they have to. On the other side of that, we do have the freelancer network, and we work with freelancers a lot. So
Mhm.
making sure that the way they need to use the platform is working and everything in there is good, but also we use some external tools with some of our freelancers, like chat or giving them access to like documents. So making those workflows easy for our employees. In the end, it's all about serving the customers, making that process efficient to create the content. So
Yeah, but there's a lot. I mean, you put it so eloquently, right? But
try to
there's
be
so
brief.
much, right?
Yeah,
You painted that picture, if you will, where there's a lot going on behind the scenes, right? In order to have the end product or the end result and making sure things are user friendly, but not only to us internally, but to the freelancer, and so that the collaboration between it all can ultimately be seamless as well. So yeah,
right.
it's a lot of work, Brendan.
Yeah, and it's not only about the product that we sell, but also about the products that we use. So finding better ways to use those, make them more efficient, automate workflows if we can. All of that goes into the product management umbrella, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any, one thing that kind of gets you excited about the current state of content and content marketing? Anything that jumps out at you as of late?
Content marketing is so broad. There's so much involved in it. It's all on like the digital medium, I guess you could say, but there's so many different types of content that you can create, subjects that are different styles, completely different content pieces, right? Depending on who your audience is, um, you can find a different strategy that works well for you, and it's customizable for the customer and what they need. So that's kind of what's most exciting for me, is that there's so many different ways that you can go about content marketing. It's always about kind of maybe making tweaks here or there to kind of find your rhythm. So
The puzzle, if you will.
yeah, exactly.
is the exciting part for you. Kind of like, I hear you though. That part's fun, like kind of piecing it together, discovering what works, what doesn't. And it's, I mean, generally it's not one and the same, right, for someone else. So, is there any, I guess, common mistake or kind of challenge that you see customers going through or facing that you would love to fix more so? And what would that be?
So I think being able to quickly get writers and freelancers up to speed on what you're looking for as a customer, like what's your voice, what kind of
Mm,
tone are you using, what are your rules for punctuation, all those kinds of like details that are important for people when they're trying to put content out. We've looked at different ways that we can kind of improve that process and take more information from the customers to give the writers and freelancers when they're working on content so that it's
yeah,
a shorter cycle on the beginning. But I think that's one thing that's really important to think about in content marketing is it takes consistency and it takes a little bit of time to see results. It's not like you put out this one killer video and then everybody's like everybody loves your brand and they're all buying your product. Content marketing is a little bit different.
absolutely. And usually content creation is it feels like the heavier lift, but then once it's done, there's a lot of other lifting, right? So
Right. Yeah.
So I feel you. And kind of taking a little bit of a step back too, I'm curious, Brendon, about are there any industries that you have worked in prior to or before that kind of influence where and what you do now?
So most of my career after I got out of school was in the healthcare space. And the one thing that I took from working there for almost 10 years was that like urgency is key. And when you're adding technology to a workflow, so, you know, to relate it back to us, when we're adding the content creation platform to their marketing workflow, we want it to be intuitive so you can log in, the user knows kind of what to do just by looking at it. And
Mm-hmm.
you also want it to be efficient. If there's a bunch of extra steps and things that add to their workflow, it's going to be harder to get those users to adopt it. And so in the healthcare space, you know, we would bring in these big inventory management cabinets that held all of their controlled substances and they would log it out. We would create their controlled substance log for them basically.
Mm.
And if the process wasn't easy, they wouldn't do it. They would just unlock it, take the stuff out, write it down like they were used to. And so that's obviously not what we want because that's not a product that is valuable to the users that we're creating it for. So on the ClearVoice side, you know, we're bringing in another platform for them to use and to communicate through. And so we want it to be easy. We want it to be pretty intuitive so they can kind of just log in and go. And I think that's what I've learned over my career is it's important to have something that's valuable, but valuable and easy to use and something that your users want to use, not just something that you think they want to use.
Yeah. That's a, I mean, it sounds so easy, but until you're in it, right? Like what they want to use versus what you think they want. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So really kind of putting yourself in in those shoes, in that perspective. And kind of curious here, like what's next? What's the next step on your kind of career to-do list? Whether that's continuing to focus on something else, where you're striving to be a course or anything like that. Just kind of curious, what's next?
Well, I recently kind of made the switch into product management. It's been, I guess, almost 2 years, so not too recent, but I'd like to continue on the product side of things and exploring the skills that are useful there, like pulling analytical data and telling the stories that we talked about before. Also, maybe get into some more on the like coding side of things.
Oh
I've
yeah.
taken a few computer science classes in college, but I was not the best at them. I don't think I have the patience to like try and fail that many
Nor
times
I.
to learn all that. So I like to dabble in that a little bit more just to kind of understand what the engineers that I'm working with are doing. But yeah, just kind of focus on the product development side of things and how we can create great products, how the product affects all the different areas of business like marketing,
Mhm.
sales, all that kind of stuff is really interesting to me. So I've been working on that.
Yeah, you're kind of like a central hub, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I love that. Well, Brendan, that's it for our spotlight. Thank you so much for joining today, and it was a pleasure to have you.
Of course. Thank you.
Well, if you're seeking the content you need with the quality you expect, look no further than ClearVoice.